Welcome to the Urban Wine Club podcast. Pour a glass, sit back, and enjoy the show.
Welcome, everyone, for another fantastic sip clip brought to you by Urban Wine Club. I am Ari, and with me is one of my favorite people. Sometimes I like him, sometimes I don't, but he's definitely one of my favorite people. Foti, what's up, man?
Ari, how you doing, brother?
I'm pretty good. I'm actually very interested and excited about the topic we have today because when you first brought it up, I'm pretty. What is it?
You were like WTF?
Yeah. Yeah, pretty much. Because I'm very not familiar. I don't know much about it as usual, and you are here to educate. But this is a topic that I'm actually pretty interested in. So why don't you take over and give us some insight into what we're going to be talking about today?
Absolutely, Ari. So we're on this trend of eating clean, drinking clean, looking for organically produced products, biodynamic produced wines, and so on, because we want to take time in what we put into our bodies. So at the same token, though, did you know that taking it a step further, and this pertains mainly to white wines, not so much to whites and rosés, but not so much to reds as much, right? But
I'm gonna ask you about that, but good to know. But I'm gonna ask you a little bit more later.
So if you are an individual that goes by a specific regiment on what you want to eat. So if you consider yourself a vegan or a vegetarian and you enjoy drinking wine, unfortunately, you cannot drink certain or most white wines if you tend to be vegan.
I never even thought about that.
What does that, when you hear that, what does that mean?
What did
you can't drink white wine.
You squeezed a cow into one of these bottles? Like, what does that mean?
Well, you're on the right track. So So the process with white wine is a little different and unknown to 99.9% of wine consumers, that in order for white wine to get its clarity and its crispness, it is actually filtered with animal byproducts.
Oh my God. I've never, ever even heard of that.
Well, we're going to get even more deep into this. So during the filtering process, there are different agents that winemakers will use to turn their white wine into a crystal clear result. So a couple of agents that they use is they'll use the protein of cow's milk that actually is used in the filtering process.
Really?
What happens is, it breaks down certain compounds in the wine, and those compounds fall to the bottom of the barrel to create that clarity. And they also use fish bladder.
Oh, geez.
That actually is, and I don't want to get too technical, but I'm just going to give you the general overlook here of what happens, or what's being used, I should say. So because of that, this process, technically, if we're putting animal byproduct into it, you're consuming it. So it technically can be offered to someone who practices being vegan.
So do you think a lot of vegans are aware of this?
No.
So if I get some uppity vegan who's in my face and I want to take him down a peg, could I tell him, you're not even really vegan, man. You drink white wine.
You could do that if you wanted to be that person.
But could I honestly ask you, is the whole purpose of this just for the aesthetic look of the wine?
Well, wait, aesthetic and also a little bit of its crispness.
Okay.
Yeah. But number one is aesthetics. So think about this. If you didn't filter the wine, it would be slightly cloudy. So imagine purchasing a bottle of white wine that looks cloudy.
Yeah, because of what we're conditioned to know and see, that might be a little weird.
Right.
But, maybe we should be here to change that notion.
And I'm sure that, through all of the Instagram pages and posts that we go through and we follow, there is a movement of natural wines. There is a movement of unfiltered wines. So to keep it very basic to our folks and to our audience is that if you want to consume or try white wine that avoids being filtered with animal byproducts, is always look for wines that have on the label that say unfiltered. So if it's unfiltered, then it's vegan friendly.
But filtered always means animal product?
Well, they're not going to disclose that. So
if you want to be safe, it has to be unfiltered.
Yeah. Look for it on the label that it says unfiltered. There are actually some, small producers around the world that practices this through all of their existence. They don't bother to label that unless you like dig deep and learn about these producers. But for the most part, there are producers that are making it a point that they're putting it on their label that it's unfiltered. So yeah, so the point that we're trying to make here is that if you want to take your approach a step further into sourcing completely clean, organic, sustainable wines, look for the unfiltered aspect as well. Now, not to confuse you, but
that's not hard to do.
We are big fans of biodynamic wines, right?
Mm-hmm. Yep.
But here's a curveball: is that biodynamic wines cannot be vegan friendly.
Oh, okay.
Okay.
What does that mean?
The way I was explained to me is that because most biodynamic producers actually include and ground up animal bones into their fertilizing and when they actually lay out the dirt for the new season.
Hold on one sec. So wait a minute. Like, I mean, how strict is this term now, vegan? Like, if a grape grows in soil that has ground up animal bone,
byproducts,
can't be considered vegan?
Well, the animal byproduct actually gets transferred into the vines and blah, blah, blah.
I'm very curious. And I mean, if there's anybody out there listening or watching this, feel free to chime in, like send us a message, comment or whatever. But like, how strict are you as a vegan where that is something that you will avoid? Or is it like, as a vegan, are you like, it's technically blah, blah, blah?
Right. Well, I mean, it depends on you as an individual, but
yeah,
it's just a peace of mind that at the same token, for me, I look at it a little differently. I like it to be clean, meaning that it doesn't need these additional agents to make the wine look better so that I can consume it. I've begun to enjoy over time the complex and unique textures of unfiltered natural wines, even though to the average individual, those flavors and textures could be pretty abrasive.
So if you're not familiar and you're not savvy with the true vegan wine, you're saying that it could come off as harsh
in the beginning. It's almost like they're more acidic. They have gripping textures. Gripping is that sensation when you drink wine, you get it kind of on the end of the finish of your palate. It feels almost like a velvety texture. Not velvety, because velvety is more inviting, but more like a grip. Something is gripping.
Like sometimes I'll drink here and there a wine and like it's almost like I need to drink some water because it feels like it's getting like tight or something.
But I've realized over time, my palate has adjusted to these natural, vegan, unfiltered wines that I enjoy that sensation and I seek it out of every sip.
I haven't tried any.
Hopefully,
I was gonna say hopefully you have some for me to try, but I feel like it's something that I could get on board with. Maybe not like the first glass, but
I think that it will be in the sense of when we're in good company, that's when you'll enjoy it the best. I think you need to be with company to begin exploring and enjoying these wines.
You know, I love that phrase. Like, we always talk about how environment, atmosphere affects wine, and I love that you said if you're in good company, you could start to enjoy it. Like that's it. It's like it doesn't logically make sense, but it is true. You know what I mean?
So that's
like wine's wine. If you're alone, if you're with people, it's wine. But it's true. You sometimes need to be in that atmosphere to enjoy something for the first time, or something that may kind of hit you in a different way that you're not expecting or you're not used to.
Right. No, absolutely. So, we're always trying to bring to light our own approach, perspective, and our opinion, but there's always a place for every wine. I think these are wonderful wines. It's just that they need to be understood. So our goal here is to understand them. I just want to mention that I did open I'll give a little plug for this natural wine that we're drinking. It's a Portuguese white wine from a very small producer.
Turn your background off.
I'll speak a little bit about it, and then I'll turn the background of Santorini.
Unless we don't have that on the shopping cart, do we?
No, it's just this is like a very rare bottle, but I just wanted to give you an example. Like,
okay,
this is a natural orange wine from Portugal, and again, back to what's orange wine. It's basically white wine with lots of skin contact. When white wine is fermenting with the skins in the vats, that means that the skins will change the color and texture of the white wine. So they take on this like orangey, darker color. I mean,
so skin
what I'm going
contact.
to do, I'm going to, as you talk, I'm going to actually for the visual, I'm going to take off my background so that you can see how the unfiltered aspect of this wine looks like. Okay, you can speak as I grab a nice glass.
Well, I was going to say, this really has nothing to do with what we're talking about, but skin contact is what makes orange wine orange and also what makes rosés rosés.
Correct. That's
So
a very good point.
why is one considered orange and why is one considered rosé? Is it what makes
Because orange wine is from white grapes. Rosés are from red grapes.
Okay. Good. Yeah, that makes sense. Okay, thank you.
All right, so let me pour a little more. So here we go. I'm pouring this orange wine, and if I put it close, you see how cloudy
Yes.
and hazy it looks. So this is natural orange wine that's white grapes that have been produced into wine with the skins in it and no filtering whatsoever.
Yeah, definitely. You could tell that is a cloudy. It looks like a really cloudy white wine.
I could mistake this for like lemonade in a glass, right? But
it looks inviting to me. I don't know.
Most folks would think this is weird, but we want to get past the weirdness because things that might be weird on the outside and to be very delightful on the inside. So these have very strong aromas, and again, the textures are very dense. Very dense. It just covers your palate completely. Long finish, not too much acidity, kind of on the rounder side. But
from the description, I feel like I'd like that wine.
No, you would love it. You're a red wine drinker.
Yes.
And because red wines have textures and they're bold and they have depth, orange wines have similar attributes like red wine minus the red flavor.
That's all right. I'm sold. I want to try it. It looks like something that I would definitely enjoy. One of the questions that I had in my head since the beginning that I want to ask you before we finish up is you said the whole vegan thing with the animal byproduct filtering, blah, 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 is mostly for white wines. When or does it ever apply to red wine?
It depends on the winemaker. If they're all about the natural process, certain red wines might go through a filtering process for textures as well.
Okay.
But it's done very seldomly. Rosés and sparkling wines also go through a filtering process as well.
Okay.
So if you're not a fan of fish bladders or other various milk proteins,
I like my fish bladders straight up.
Right. But they're coming up with other tactics to filter wine without animal byproducts.
Oh, that's
so they're working on that as well.
I mean, it makes sense, right? Technology moves forward. People want to get more strict with what they put in their bodies. It makes 2 + 2 = 4. So, wow. I honestly, I didn't know much about that. And I really didn't know that any vegan who's drinking lots of white wine without thinking about it, that they technically...
So now, because we've done this segment, every time you meet someone who says, I'm vegan, are you going to ask them if they drink white wine?
Yeah, because I'm one of those people that wants to cause trouble. So, yes. But first, I'm going to see if they're cool. I won't bother. But if they're, those annoying types, I'm going to go right in.
There you go. Well, there you have it, Ari. Unfiltered wine, or AKA vegan wine.
Yes, that's awesome. Awesome information. Very interesting. I never knew. Hopefully a lot of people out there learned something new. But yeah, that's a pretty fascinating subject. And
the world of wine has been fascinating, and it continues to fascinate us.
Absolutely. And you will be here to guide us through. So we thank you for that, Foti. And nice to see you. Thanks for the time. Thanks everybody out there for listening and watching. And stay tuned for the next sip clip. We're doing a whole new series coming soon, right? With Dr. Susanna Hoffman.
Sips and dips are coming very soon. So, be on the lookout for it. Very fun, informative.
And if you think Foti is informative, wait till you hear Dr. Susanna. She is off the hook.
Off the charts in my book.
She's awesome. She is super awesome. Like every time, if we're just saying hi to her, like she'll fill in with some crazy information of where hi came from.
I'll just tell real quickly. Every time we listen to Susanna, I want to be a better person about the way I live, because she'll bring a lot of things to light She'll help us understand who we are as people and what or how we should be living based on her research as a renowned global accredited anthropologist. She will bring a lot to the table for us. She's going to give us fun facts, easy ways to make quick dishes that are flavorful and pair well with the wines that we're going to recommend. And we're going to learn, educate, and be better.
So stay tuned for our sip clips. Stay tuned for the sips and dips and a lot of other stuff we're doing. So just, connect with us. Get on social media, get on our app, and you'll be the first to know of all these things. So thank you so much, everybody, for watching and listening. And we will see you next time. Thank you, Foti.
Thank you. Cheers.
Cheers.